Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. So if you are in need of some dinner inspiration, this is the video for you. So I was browsing around on Food Network's website the other day and I found this feature for simple dinners. And I think there was about 10 or 12 recipes on there, and so I sort of flipped through them and the idea came to me that I should do a video dedicated to quick dinners, or what I'm calling them is shortcut suppers. So when you were a kid, did you call it dinner or supper? We always called it supper, and then as I've gotten older, we've called it dinner, but let me know what say you. So anyway, I'm gonna be sharing with you 3 easy dinners in today's video. So the first dinner is going to be a salmon sheet pan supper with a horseradish sauce. I'm also going to be showing you a steak with chimichurri, and that's also on the grill with roasted green beans and tomatoes. And then the last recipe is a Thai chicken lettuce wrap, and those turned out really good. Everything actually turned out really good. So I'm also including what we thought of the recipes after we ate them, because I think that's just as important. So all of the recipes will be linked down below, the original source on foodnetwork.com. So let's get started, and I hope you enjoy this video. So tonight I am planning on making this salmon sheet pan supper with horseradish sauce. I'm gonna make Adam tilapia because he doesn't like salmon, but it called for broccolini, and you cannot find broccolini around here in Iowa, so I'm attempting to make my own broccolini. So basically I just kind of like trimmed off the outer leaves and tried to like slice this into broccolini type shapes. So anyway, we'll see how it works. I'm gonna go ahead and wash it up right now. Okay, so after I got the broccoli washed up, the next thing that I wanted to do was prep the potatoes. This recipe calls for rainbow fingerling potatoes, but I couldn't find those at my grocery store, so I ended up just getting the little yellow potatoes that are already pre-washed, which makes it super convenient. You don't have to scrub them. I totally love that. So these were small enough that I was just able to cut them in half. I put them on a sheet tray, drizzled them with olive oil, salt, and pepper, and I have foil on the bottom of the sheet to make it easier clean up. You want to make sure that you put these face down so that the cut side of the potato gets nice and roasted, and then you can pop those in the oven at 425 for 15 minutes. So while those are starting to roast, you can get your broccoli and your fish ready. I am drizzling the broccoli with some olive oil, some salt, and some pepper, and I'm also adding a little bit of lemon juice. The recipe didn't call for this, so that's just my personal preference. Feel free to add it or leave it out if you want to. And then with broccoli especially, you want to make sure that you kind of massage the oil into the broccoli, otherwise it won't be evenly distributed. Now this recipe is actually meant to make it all on one sheet tray, but that is for 2 servings, and obviously I needed more than that for my family, so I had to make it on several sheet trays, but I did use foil, so it was really easy to clean up. So I think I mentioned this before, but my husband does not care for salmon, and my son will eat it, but it's not really his favorite. So I also wanted to make a couple of pieces of tilapia to go with this. So I just patted the fish dry with a paper towel. I have 3 pieces of salmon and 2 pieces of tilapia. I drizzled those with olive oil, salt, and then for the tilapia, I'm using a little bit of this Fresh Jack's Fresh Bay seasoning. It's really good. I'll leave a link to their site in the description box below. I use their spices all the time and I love them. So after drizzling those with olive oil and all my spices, I went ahead and flipped them over just using a fork, and then I will season the other side. Just make sure that you season fish rather generously, because it is obviously very plain, and that's the only seasoning that your fish is going to have besides the sauce that we'll make here in a little bit. So you can see here that I'm having a little bit of struggle fitting all of these sheet trays into my oven. I should have thought about that a little bit more, but I just decided to pull the broccoli out and roast that after the potatoes were done. Anyway, it all worked out. Okay, so For this recipe, you'll also make a quick horseradish sauce along with the fish. This was really, really good and we all enjoyed it. So for this, it calls for mayo and then it does call for Greek yogurt, but I didn't have any plain Greek yogurt. So I'm just using sour cream, which worked out very well. And then you add capers, some horseradish, and some lemon juice. I added salt and pepper to taste. And then I also added a little bit of dried dill and dried parsley to the sauce. I think I like the dill flavor, especially with salmon and other types of fish. I just think it accents it. And so you can just taste it, add more salt and pepper if you need to. But I would definitely be making this again. It's sort of like a tartar sauce, but it's a little bit of a different taste because of the capers and the dill and the horseradish. So here's a look at everything when it came out of the oven. You can see that I added a little bit of cheese to my broccoli because that's how my kids like it. The potatoes turned out super crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. Here's a look at both of the fishes that I made. Those turned out really well. And then also the horseradish cream sauce, I just had set that in the refrigerator to chill. So we will have that on the side, but that was the perfect accompaniment to this seafood. Here's a look at my plate. I just have some of the broccoli or my faux broccolini along with my fish and my potatoes. All right, so I just want to share with you guys what we thought of the salmon sheet pan supper with horseradish sauce. So first of all, the salmon was really good. There wasn't really anything too special about it. I mean, that's how I normally cook it in the oven. I did do the tilapia for Adam with the Fresh Jack's Bay seasoning, and everyone liked that really well. Both the kids liked it. Connor said he's not really a huge fan of salmon anymore. He did end up eating that and thought it was really good. Adam said it was really good, so that might be what I'll do in the future, is just make that tilapia or another white fish for them. And then the horseradish sauce, it was sort of like a tartar sauce, but different obviously because it didn't have pickles in it and it had the capers and the horseradish flavor. Really, really good. The roasted potatoes I thought were really good. I always love those little yellow potatoes. They're just so like crunchy on the outside and creamy on the inside. They were really good, dipped kind of in the horseradish sauce. Adam thought they needed a little bit more salt, but that's something that you can obviously adjust on your own. And then the broccoli, so like I said, I didn't have broccolini, so I just used regular broccoli. In the future, I would probably just steam it or boil it rather than roast it in the oven. I've tried roasting broccoli before, and really none of us here like that texture of roasted broccoli. I think we would rather have it steamed or boiled because it just makes it more tender. I think when you roast it in the oven, it's just still a little bit crunchy, and we're not big fans of that. But overall, I thought it was a really good dinner, and I would definitely make it again. So the next dinner I'm going to show you is this steak with chimichurri sauce. I went ahead and made some baked potatoes in my Instant Pot to serve with this just because it was with green beans and I thought my kids would like a baked potato on the side, and so would we. So I make my baked potatoes in the Instant Pot. I'll leave a link down below to the recipe that I use, but they do cook on high pressure in 14 minutes. Super easy, especially when you're pressed for time and you want to have baked potatoes during the week. It's a great way to make those. So while those were cooking, I went ahead and started trimming and washing my green beans. So these are fresh green beans. You can get them in the produce section. My family actually prefers canned green beans, but I can't, my heart can't take it. I can't serve canned green beans all the time, so I have to alternate between fresh or frozen and canned, but I snap the ends off of those. And I'm just putting them in my trusty OXO salad spinner. I'll link this down below. I use it all the time. You guys that have been here at my channel know that, but I like to soak my produce in some cold water and vinegar just to loosen any of the dirt. Make sure you drain those really well. I went ahead and washed the cherry tomatoes along with it. And then essentially you're going to make a foil packet to roast these on the grill. So I'm just drizzling the veggies with some olive oil, some Fresh Jack's garlic and herb seasoning, and some salt and some pepper. And then I'll kind of just wrap this up into a little tinfoil packet, and you'll place that right on the grill along with the steak. Super convenient, and obviously no dishes to do with that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get this on the grill. The green beans did take about 20 minutes to cook. It really depends on how crispy you want to leave them or how soft you want them. But I really did think the tomatoes were awesome roasted with the green beans. I've never made them like that before. So I went ahead and popped those on, and then about 5 minutes later, I took my sirloin steak. I had seasoned this with some of the Fresh Jack's meat seasoning and olive oil, and I had let that sit in the refrigerator marinating for about 4 hours before I put this on the grill. So I'm also making a few pieces of tilapia just like I made in the last segment because I wasn't too sure about how excited the kids would be about eating steak. Connor really does like steak, but Kira not so much. So to go with the steak, it calls to make a chimichurri sauce, and I can't remember if I've ever made one of these before, but it was really good. And it's really good with any type of like meat or fish or poultry. Basically, you could put this sauce on anything. It's just like an herb sauce that you make in the food processor, super fresh. So to the food processor, I added some parsley and some cilantro along with some red wine vinegar, some garlic, a tablespoon of water, and some extra virgin olive oil. And then I just processed that until everything was incorporated. I did have to add a little bit extra oil, so I'm adding a little bit of avocado oil and just, process that until everything is fine and the mixture is combined. You can taste it to make sure it doesn't need more salt. And then that's it. Basically, you can just scrape this into a bowl and you can eat it with your steak when the steak is finished. Okay, so now it is time to flip the steak over. I'm going to cook this so that it is medium in the middle, and then I wanted to toss the green beans around a little bit as well. The seasoning that I used for the steak was the Grill Master seasoning from Fresh Jack's. I couldn't remember the name, but I looked it up, and that was so good on beef. It would be really good on burgers too. So for the steak, I would say, I don't know. I mean, probably about 5 to 7 minutes per side, depending on how big your steak is. I had a really large sirloin, so I went ahead and cooked it for 7 minutes per side. Okay, here are the baked potatoes along with the chimichurri sauce. Here's what the steak looked like once I cut it up. You can see that it was perfectly done, about medium. That's how we like to eat it here. And then I also had some hot dogs and a few pieces of fish for the kids, along with the roasted green beans and tomatoes. Okay, so last night for dinner we had the grilled steak with the green beans and the tomatoes and the chimichurri sauce. So I just wanted to give you an update on what we thought about that. I thought it was really good. Adam did not really care for the steak. He said he would have preferred to have like a more tender cut of meat, like maybe a ribeye or even like a flank steak that we could slice really thin. I use sirloin, which is just what I had in the freezer. So I would maybe consider that next time. I thought that the chimichurri sauce was really good. And I also thought it was good with, I put a little bit, or, kind of dipped my green beans and tomatoes with it too. Adam did not really like the cooked tomatoes, but I thought they were good. The kids like the green beans. What else? Oh, we had baked potatoes with it too, which I think if you're gonna make something like this and you're not doing like low carb, the baked potato with sour cream and a little bit of cheese was really good with it. So I thought it was a win. I would consider making it again, maybe with a couple modifications, but overall I thought it was like a really easy meal. Obviously easy cleanup because you do it all on the grill and then you can just toss the foil. So, okay, on to the next recipe. Okay, so the last recipe I'm gonna show you are these Thai chicken lettuce wraps. I'm gonna have to make some substitutions because this calls for a Food Network Thai cooking sauce, which I couldn't find. So instead I'm using this Kikkoman stir fry sauce, and then I'll probably put some extra garlic in there, maybe some sesame oil, probably some red pepper flakes, and I think I'm also gonna add some water chestnuts because I like those in these type of wraps. And I have some ground chicken. And then I have to go grab the lettuce out of the garage fridge. And then I'm also going to make some rice on the side. So I think out of the 3 recipes that I'm sharing with you today, this one is probably the easiest and the quickest, and it might be my favorite too. So I'm putting my ground chicken in the skillet with a little bit of olive oil. I put some garlic paste in there, some salt and some pepper, and I also used some powdered ginger along with just a drizzle of sesame oil. Like I said, I had to jazz this up a little bit just because I couldn't find that Thai cooking sauce in my grocery store, so I wanted to make sure that it was still a little bit spicy and had, that Thai flavor. So for the lettuce, I just have some green leaf lettuce that I am soaking in really cold water to loosen any dirt that might be on those leaves. I like to let that soak for about 10 minutes. So while that is soaking, I finished sauteing up the chicken. I did add off camera maybe about a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. I added a can of water chestnuts, which was not in the original recipe, but I would definitely recommend adding those because I think it gives it a really great crunch. And then I'm also adding that stir fry sauce. So that's basically it. Just make sure that you heat that until the sauce is heated through. I just use some boil in the bag rice. That's my favorite kind of rice to make, especially on a weeknight. Super simple, hardly any cleanup, and it works really great every time. So here is me spinning dry my lettuce. Like I said, I'll link that OXO salad spinner down below. I totally love it. I use it all the time. You guys are probably tired of hearing me talk about it by now. But anyway, here is my plate. I just had some of the lettuce wraps along with some rice and the chicken mixture, and I also added some cilantro on the top, which was delicious. Okay, so I wanted to give you an update on what we thought of the chicken lettuce wraps. So this was probably my favorite meal out of all 3 of these, and I don't know if it was the kids' favorite meal because I did put some red pepper flake into the chicken mixture, and Connor thought it was too spicy. Kira didn't think it was that spicy. I don't think it's necessarily their favorite meal. I think probably their favorite meal was the salmon, but Adam and I did like the lettuce wraps. So that recipe is definitely a keeper. Like I said, if you can't find that Food Network sauce, I would definitely just try substituting what I did, like the garlic and the stir fry sauce and the red pepper flake. And I definitely, if I make it again, I will put water chestnuts in it because I think that it gives it a lot of crunch, and I will definitely add cilantro too. So that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed seeing these shortcut suppers. It's really fun to me to find recipes online and cook them for you guys and give you new ideas. And I also like telling you what we thought of them because I think that's just as important. So if you want to see more videos like these, or if you have an idea for a theme that you want me to do, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you in my next video. Bye.